So if you take a look at our record, there's kind of three numbers I always point to. That students from the University of Manitoba have won in excess of $1 million in prize money in a little over a decade.
Wow.
Which, yeah, that's not bad.
That's incredible.
I've had students go out and buy BMWs. I've had one guy tell me he paid off all of his university debt with that. That's a lot of money if you're a 21, 22-year-old kid for a little bit of work, although I think most of my students tell you a lot of work. I think the second thing you have to look at is that those students have created well in excess of 24 businesses. And some of those businesses we know from around town. So Sun Peak Foods is one of them. Tell Us About Us was also students that took the class. But probably the biggest business we had come out of that class is, well, actually, the most well-known one we had is Kevin Mitchelluk, who, when he was a student, started a business called Placia Tech with Dr. Mike Miller, which was a medical device company. And he got bored waiting for the device to go through its FDA trials to get approved for use on patients. So he went out and started crackberry.com. So if you've got a BlackBerry and you go to Crackberry and you're looking for Crackberry Kevin, he's a Winnipegger and one of the students we had. But the probably the best known business we have internationally is called Novadac Technologies. And that's one we did in a partnership deal with the National Research Council's Institute for Biodiagnostics. And that business now trades on the TSX exchange and has a market capitalization around $200 million, I believe.
Wow. So several of the students have gone on to create businesses, as you've been talking about. I think I read 16 businesses have been created out of this.
Yeah, I think we're up to around about 22, 24 now. The number keeps changing. And one of the things we want to do is encourage the students to go and start their business. As a matter of fact, just last week, I was talking to a couple of students who came in and said, look, we don't want to compete with the idea we've got, this idea that we really want to launch. We want to go and do. And I said, guys, you know what? I'm happier that you go out and start a business than pretending to start a business. So there's going to be one more coming out of the class that we can attribute to it.
Wow. So the students put together a business plan, a company, and they go in and compete at various universities. Is that how it works?
Yeah, essentially what happens is the students will get a technology. All of our businesses are based on some form of technology. We've done a lot of work with the National Research Council on that. One year we did a project with the Idaho National Lab. And right now we've just signed an agreement to work with YSUM, which is the Tech Transfer Office of Hebrew University in Jerusalem. So they get a technology piece. Then the students have to go out and build the business around this technology. And I think one of the big misnomers they've got is, I've got this piece of technology, I'm just going to go out and sell it. It's a simple buy-sell. What they don't realize is there's a lot of work to build up the management team, the sales channels, go out and put together a promotional program. All the things that really make a business, they have to go and do. And one of the most consistent comments I get back from the students is, including the guys I was talking to last week, is, I learned so much in your class about how to talk to people and how to ask them a question so I could get a solid answer. That's the kind of skill set we're building. Now, competitively, right now we're ranked 5th in the world. It's the
5th in the world?
5th in the world, yeah, which is, if you think about it, that's a tremendous achievement, because no other Canadian school tops the top 10 and hasn't topped the top 10 in well over a decade. So we're by far in advance of the other Canadian schools. The other thing to take a look at is, the World Championships are called the Venture Labs Investment Competition. It's hosted by the University of Texas. If you take a look at schools that have gone to the semifinals, we're actually second. There's 2 teams tied for first. In the past 5 years, they've been to the semifinals all 5 times. We've been 4 of 5 years. Now, the 2 schools that are ahead of us, I don't mind being in the same company with them. That's Carnegie Mellon University, one of the biggest and most prestigious research schools in the U.S., and Thammasat in Thailand, which is generally considered to be their version of Harvard.
That's incredible that we're in 5th and the only Canadian school that's in the top 10. There's lots of business schools across Canada that are famous that I've heard of, and we're right up there. Well, we're ahead of them. That's incredible. And I know I've met lots of the students over time, and they have some great ideas. Done the elevator pitch and saw the trade show that they set up, and very motivated. And I can see why some of them have been winners in competition and gone on to start their own companies. We're going to come back with the final segment of Food and Friends for this Sunday with Rob Warren, Asper School of Business, Executive Director of the Stu Clark Centre for Entrepreneurship, right after this break. We're back with Rob Warren, the Asper School of Business, Stu Clark Centre for Entrepreneurship, the Executive Director for the Stu Clark Centre, on Food and Friends. I just want to mention that if you happen to miss a show, you can download the show out to your computer, your MP3 player, iPhone or iPad via the podcast feature at CJOB.com. If you haven't been to the CJOB.com and looked at the podcast feature, you should check it out. It's kind of cool. There's 4 shows of CJOBs that are available via podcast, including Food and Friends. Rob, the Stu Clark Investment Competition, what can you tell us about that?
So based upon our success of doing business planning, we were asked by the Venture Labs folks to put together our own business plan, or what's now called an investment competition, because now it's moved beyond students with academic exercises to students that really want to launch businesses. So from the 31st of March to April 2nd of this year, we'll host 12 of the best universities in the world are going to come in, and their students are going to pitch the ideas that they're trying to commercialize to panels of investors. And some of our investors are on their 8th or 9th startup. We've got a couple that have had NASDAQ-listed companies. All of them are here, and actually the Canadian representative for NASDAQ will be here because they're one of our lead sponsors to take a look at these ideas. In the past 6 years we've had this particular competition, at least 2 businesses every year have launched. One of them was in Norway, and last year's business had come up with a new way of producing photovoltaic cells, which are used in solar panels. They've already raised about $5 million in financing, I believe.
Really? $5 million. And when's this happen?
This will be March 31st to April 2nd. It'll be at the Fort Garry. We encourage everybody to come out on the first night. That's the trade show and the elevator pitch competition. Right. And this year we're doing something a little different with the elevator pitch. We're going to do kind of a late night format, and we've bringing in the Ministers of Cool, a local band, to play between the different groups presenting.
They're very good.
They are very good.
They're very good. So having you here, being one of the most interviewed people that I know, what do you see as the future for Manitoba? What do you see is happening?
I think Manitoba's got a great future, and for a lot of reasons. Some of them we already know about. Yeah, we've got this really diversified economy, but I'll tell you the one thing that really heartens me, and I see this whether it's with the BizCamp program or whether it's with the students that are doing the business planning stuff, is we've got a very creative population here. And especially with the new people coming into this country, they've got a lot of great ideas that they want to take out and bring to the world. And that's going to help build the economy. Some of those are in the food areas. If you go to the Portage La Prairie and the Food Development Center, right, that's a great resource that more and more people are taking advantage of, and that's going to give us more and more products coming out. The Composites Research Center here in Winnipeg gives us a lot of new products that we can start to work on and move forward with. And if you go up into Thompson, all that cold weather research that's being done up there, not only does that take advantage of a resource we have here, but it allows us to start developing a level of expertise at places like University College of the North or Brandon University, or here at the University of Manitoba and University of Winnipeg.
And so you see the Manitoba's future, because of the diverse economy and a whole bunch of other things you just talked about, it has a bright future, if you want to call it that. It's
got a hugely bright future, and I think the ag sector, whether it's in production or whether it's in the equipment side, is going to be very strong as we go forward. I think the resource sector is going to be strong, and we're seeing lots of work being done, whether it's by the new hydro systems that are going in, or whether it's just entrepreneurs coming up with great ideas that they're taking to market, like the Replay 360 guys in Brandon.
And do you think we're going to get an NHL team back?
I'd say the odds are higher than ever before you're going to get an NHL team, for a couple of reasons. I think one is because the dollar value really helps.
Right.
And two, I think now you've got, with Mr. Thompson working with Mark Chipman and the guys at True North, you've got somebody who can really afford what it's going to take to have a professional sports franchise.
You think the economics will work in the...
The economics, I think if you've got that ownership structure, that should work, but, things change, and it's one of the things you've got to look at.
Thanks, Rob, for joining me on Food and Friends today. It's been a quick show. You have a great Sunday.
Thanks.
Should you have any comments about the show or suggestions, please email me at larrymcintosh@peakmarket.com or visit our website, peakmarket.com. Next Sunday on Food and Friends, my guest will be Ivan Belenovich, President and CEO of Bothwell Cheese. This company has been in New Bothwell, Manitoba since 1936 and has won international awards for several of its cheeses. Ivan will share the cheesy facts about his company and how it makes 40 different styles and varieties of cheeses right here in Manitoba. Thanks to our show's producer, Nicole Bonneycamp, and thanks to you for your support and for listening to Food and Friends. I hope you'll join me next Sunday at 8 a.m. for another conversation over a cup of coffee. Stay tuned for CJOB News at the top of the hour. Take care, and please, don't forget to eat your